If I was to share with you 2 driving test tips right here, right now, I would say to you, number 1, make sure you get proper driving lessons before your test. And number 2, listen to your instructor and not the ridiculous conspiracy theories, such as driving testers have to fail a certain amount of people every day or every week. Trust me, that's utter nonsense. So with that in mind, I'm starting a new series of videos where I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and advice from other driving schools in different parts of the country. So where better to start than with Paul Murphy, who owns and runs In Gear Driving School in North Dublin. It's quite fitting that I should start with Paul because we both attended the same training course with the ISM back in 2008. And even back then I knew he was going to be a fantastic driving instructor because he was so calm, friendly, relaxed, but I could see a great determination to succeed, and I could definitely see a great passion for the job that he was about to embark on. So Paul recently shared with me his top 10 tips, and now I'm going to share them with you. Number 1, book the lessons close together and prepare for more than 12 lessons. This is a great tip. While there is advantages to spreading the lessons out when you're learning to drive to allow time to practice with your parents or sponsors, when you're preparing for a driving test, I think it's better to do the lessons closer together, and that increased frequency and increased intensity is probably going to make sure that you don't fall back into any bad habits. Don't listen to friends who are going to be boasting about the fact that they only needed 2 or 3 lessons. Maybe that worked for them, or maybe they're stretching the truth a little bit with their exaggerated claims. But everybody is different, every driver is unique, and some people may need an extra 10 or 20 lessons in addition to the 12 that they got on their EDT. Number 2, find a good, passionate instructor. This is very important, and as a customer, you have every right to change instructors if you are not happy with the way in which the instructor that you have is carrying out the lessons. So shop around and don't be afraid to try different instructors and then settle on the one that fits your needs best. Number 3, unwind from work or school and eat before the lesson. This is a really good bit of advice. It's always important to come into a driving lesson with a good state of mind, being fresh and being ready for the hour or 2 that you have ahead of you. You are going to get more out of the lesson if you are not stressed from work or school. And I always say to people, if you don't feel up to it, whether you feel sick or you feel anxious or whatever like that, feel free to cancel the lesson and we can rearrange again. You're always going to get more out of the driving lesson if you feel 100%. Number 4, practice standard clutch control on the car. This is another really useful piece of advice from Paul. Practicing clutch control for long periods of time really helps you get to know your car. It helps you get a feel for the car. And it can be great in terms of preparing for creeping out at blind junctions, doing a turnabout, a reverse, or creeping forward at lights. I have made a video on clutch control. You may see a link pop up on top, and I leave a link in the description. Number 5, don't be afraid to ask your instructor questions. If there's something on your mind and you're not sure, or maybe you're 90% sure but you just want to clarify, you must ask the question. If the instructor has some kind of problem or becomes impatient with you asking questions, then maybe it's time to look elsewhere for your driving lessons. Remember, knowledge is power. Tip number 6 from Paul then, work on feeding the wheel. Again, this is a great tip, particularly for beginners who may have done a little bit of practice with their family or with their sponsor before their first lesson. They may have developed some bad habits with the wheel, such as letting it spin through the hands or crossing the hands. I always say it's great to go into a nice quiet car park, practice feeding the wheel, as it's easier to manage and it's safer. I've made a video on proper steering. Links will be in the description and you may see a link on top of the screen now. Number 7, it's a life skill and not just about passing a test. Never was truer words spoken. I always say good, safe driving is for life, not just a test. If you're going to be a good driver, then you need to be a good driver on all types of roads, all types of routes, in all types of counties and all types of countries. And remember, even when you pass the test, the learning should not stop there. Number 8, observation is not just about mirrors. Don't forget the blind spot as well. This is so important. When I'm talking to learners, sometimes they see observation on their test sheet and they automatically assume, oh, it must be something to do with the mirrors. But very often this is not the case. Observation can be to do with moving the head. So for example, looking left and right at junctions, getting the one last look. It could be to do with previewing the road or previewing the roundabout. It could be to do with reading the road ahead. I have made a video on observation in terms of moving off, where some of the problems persist. And I discuss in this video the importance of the blind spot, moving off, and the importance of refreshing the blind spot. Again, a link may pop up on the top here, and you will find the link also in the description. Number 9, as soon as you get a test date, give your instructor as much time as possible. This is again a really important piece of advice and a very, very practical tip. Driving instructors can be busy, especially during the current period of restrictions, and they can be extra busy as well in the summer. It's important to plan ahead and give your instructor as much time as possible. That way you're going to have more time to get the lessons done, and a plan can be put in place to suit your own work schedule or college schedule or whatever. Do not leave it until a week or a few days before your test date to start ringing around for driving instructors. By that stage, it could be too late. Tip number 10, study the rules of the road, as this will help your overall driving. So again, this is really important. Being aware and being knowledgeable on the rules of the road is going to give you a great foundation for being a good driver. So for example, if you see this sign, you'll know that it means a roundabout. But not only will you be able to answer the question properly, you'll be able to prepare on your approach to the roundabout when you're actually practically driving towards a roundabout. So you can be aware of the lanes, the looks, the road signs, and other traffic. I've made lots of videos on traffic signs and on the theory, and if you'd like to check them out, a link may be up on the top, and there will be links in the description as well. If you are learning to drive or doing the test in North Dublin, I would recommend In Gear Driving School. Details will be on screen if you would like to find out more about this driving school, or if you would like to get in touch with Paul. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll be back very soon with another video. In fact, I'll be back on Saturday with another live stream, and I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. See you soon.